How did this happen? I mean, I was reading about one of the victims here, and he said his part of the system was in like a safety deposit box at a bank.
Yeah, I mean, people had the perception that if you have a cold wallet, that it's secure, and I think this has kind of upended that impression. You know, there was a security flaw in CoinKite's system that someone, it seems, might have even hacked into it all the way back in April times. But then the news kind of blew up over the weekend because a lot of other users were complaining about their accounts getting drained, and so they have a whole mess on their hands now.
And do most people have all their Bitcoin in one storage place, or do they kind of diversify and spread it out, kind of the way that people spread out their deposits at banks?
Yeah, I think it just depends on the person. There were some very sympathetic, harrowing stories of one guy was saying he bought 2 Bitcoin for his children's future. Another guy lost all of his savings because he just had it there. But I'm sure some of the users have it in different places too.
Can we draw any sort of corollary, like if this were to happen to somebody at a bank and like, you know, their account were somehow compromised at one of the regulated financial institution, would there be better recourse than if it's lost in Bitcoin?
Certainly, yeah. I mean, that's going to be a big question that we still don't have an answer to, is what are the repercussions for CoinKite, if any? Is there going to be litigation? Is there going to be any enforcement action? But in terms of the money, I mean, it's kind of like kaput. You don't have the same FDIC insurance and things like that.
Yeah, I'm guessing CoinKite doesn't pay anyone to insure the deposits there.
Yeah.
What do we know about CoinKite, the company?
Not a whole lot. It's a small company. It's based in Toronto, I believe. There was some commentary online by upset users about the CEO saying that he was not, aware enough about the flaws. I'm sure that we'll find out more about them in the coming days. I mean, our team certainly is trying to get in touch with people there, but I think they're like heads down trying to get their arms around the problem.
So I think for a lot of people, a system where something's in cold storage is seen as a lot safer than a system where something completely lives online,
yeah.
Like maybe in an exchange, for example. Does this just shatter that notion?
I mean, I would say so, yeah, because it's exactly like what you're saying. People had this perception that it's safe because it's on like a physical brick.
I mean, look, you're not going to give financial advice or advice about people, how people should store their crypto, but based on the folks you've spoken to and your team out reporting on this, what is the right way to store a digital asset?
You've seen some of the exchange executives come out and say that their way is better. And then you've seen some people come out and say, this doesn't ruin cold wallets. It's one bad example. It doesn't ruin the whole bunch. But I think time will tell if there are more hacks like this. Because they're not the only one that provides that device,
Right, and there have been a series of hacks too, perhaps not as many given that Bitcoin's price action has not been as robust as it was in previous years. But Eric Balchunas of Bloomberg Intelligence has been writing that the cold storage Bitcoin heist definitely shakes the faithful and strengthens the ETF case, where you get exposure to Bitcoin through ETFs rather through actual, I don't want to say physical Bitcoin, but through owning Bitcoin and putting it in cold storage wallets.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, you could see the argument for that, right? If you had the ETF and not the actual underlying asset, you might not be in such a bad situation. So it's a good time for Eric to be writing about it.
Do we know that, we can, not we, but this type of asset can be traced? And I'm wondering if the authorities...
Isn't that the point of the blockchain?
Yeah,
right?
It is. I mean, and I'm wondering if authorities have any sort of, not leads about who has it, but at least where it went.
Yeah, I mean, this is already, there are a lot of technical analysts going out there trying to scour, the CoinKite application and the flaws and it's like a big whodunit in crypto world, right? No one knows who the original hacker was, but now there's more than a dozen that have been identified. And, they're just identities. You don't know their name or anything. So I think there will be more to cover in the coming days.